Chapter 13, Part 2, Buoyancy. When the weight of a submerged object is greater than the buoyancy force, the object will sink. When the weight is less than the buoyancy force, the object will rise to the surface and float. Buoyancy is the apparent loss of weight of object when submerged in a liquid. It is easier to lift a rock submerged on the bottom of a river bed than to lift it above the water's surface. When the rock is submerged, the water exerts an upward force that is opposed in a direction to the gravity. This upward force is called the buoyancy force. The buoyancy force is the net upward force exerted by a fluid on a submerged or immersed object. The upward forces against the bottom of a submerged object are greater than the downward forces against the top. There is a net upward force, which is the buoyancy force. Arrows represent the forces within the liquid that produce pressure against the submerged rock. Notice that the forces are greater at greater depths, obviously. The forces acting horizontally against the sides cancel each other, so the rock is not pushed sideways. Forces acting upward against the bottom are greater than those acting downward against the top. The difference in upward and downward forces is the buoyancy force. When the weight is equal to the buoyancy force, the submerged object will remain suspended at any level, like a fish, as seen in the figure. If a stone is placed in a container of water, the water level will rise. Water is said to be displaced or pushed aside by the stone. The volume of the water displaced is always equal to the volume of the stone. So a completely submerged object always displaces a volume of liquid equal to its own volume. Very good and very important principle. But when an object is submerged, it displaces a volume of water equal to the volume of the object itself. So we can use these facts to determine the volume of an irregularly shaped object. Simply submerge it in water in a measuring cup. Note the apparent increase in volume of the water. The increase is always equal to the volume of the submerged object. So this volume of the liquid will be equal to the volume of the stone. So we got the volume of the stone. When an object is submerged in a container that is initially full, the volume of the water overflowing is equal to the volume of the object as seen in figure. So please check your understanding. What determines if an object will sink or float?